as a pro wrestling nerd, I love the like
That's the Undertaker, dude. She's Paul Bearer.
the blurring of like you're technically playing a character, but like why are you using your real name? Like
yeah, that's a good point.
There is this like pro wrestling aspect.
You know what? I like it more now because you put that spin on it, that perspective. Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike Economics. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined, as always, by my longtime no-see co-host, Alexander Volt. Say hello.
Hello. It's been too long.
It's been too long for us, but not for you, the
Not for
viewer.
you guys. You guys don't miss a beat.
Don't miss a beat. This is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. It's usually a new discography per episode, except for these EAE singles episodes where we cover a brand new album that we want to talk about. And what are we talking about today?
It's a big one for us. We're talking about the album Saved by Reverend Kristin Michael Hayter, formerly known as Lingua Ignota.
Yes, big album for this little podcast.
Yes.
Lingua has been with us from the start, and I've gushed and praised, and she's one of my favorite artists, modern artists, by far. Huge thanks to Tom, our boy, Tom Osman, our history guy, for snagging us a copy of this one early, getting us a review copy. This is out on October 20th, so this upcoming Friday,
yes,
if you're watching this the day this drops, and it's probably out for everyone else because
that's how time works.
Time works. You'll find it. It'll be around. It's there. Okay. But anyway. Oh, so it's going to be real awkward not referring to this as Lingua. It's going to be because it's not Lingua. She's done with Lingua. Lingua's dead. I'm saddened by that, but still.
You know, I understand it, but also, you know, in an alternate universe, if this was still called Lingua, I wouldn't be mad or disappointed.
If you were to summarize your feelings in one word, 2 words max about this album.
Love it.
Love it?
Love it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's my least favorite Kristin Hayter album. By like easily my least favorite. I like it. It's a good album. It's a good album.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But when I'm comparing it to fucking perfection, it's tough putting it against all of her other albums, including her very, very first self-released one. It's
a different beast, but it's not a total like 180 either. For her previous album, there were a lot of comparisons from us as well as other people, where if that was like a New England kind of horror type movie, slow burn, which we talked about, this and I'm using some verbiage from the press releases, because the press releases, it's kind of lame to talk about that, but I found them kind of fascinating.
They're fascinating, and one I want to dive the fuck into when we get to it. But
this is a journey through the American South.
Yep. On
a journey for salvation that is still very twisted.
It is. It's very twisted, and it's kind of like furthering her aesthetic of like the heavy religious overtones. With Sinner Get Ready was very New England, and it felt like I'm thinking Salem Witch Trials. It's not that old, of course, but that's just the
Vivitch.
Yeah, the Vivitch kind of like just that sort of aesthetic. It just reminds me of that. But this is all South. This is all.
It's so crazy. She's like from San Diego.
She's from San Diego.
Yeah.
Hey, she's from 2 hours from us right now.
Spiritually, she's as old as time, though.
100%. Yeah. So on this album, it's just so much Southern gospel, and
I believe some of these are covers of
they're hymns, like Southern Christian hymns. And my biggest problem with that is that I just hate that music. Like I genuinely, it's like, it's Sunday school, Ned Flanders kind of stuff. And if you look at it as this whole piece, it's very creepy. The way it's recorded, which we'll talk more about, it's very unsettling, and it's really well done the way they made this fucking thing feel the way it feels.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking at them as songs, I still hate the songs. I still don't like those hymns.
I like it as this like package and this presentation. I know that part of the inspiration for this was I'm sure you haven't heard it, but there's this weird album called Satan is Real by these guys, the Lovin Brothers, or it's spelled Louvin. And it's so crazy because it's these like the album cover is, you see it, you're like, this is parody, and you hear the songs and you think it's parody, but they might actually be sincere. I don't know the full, but that's part of the charm of the album. I don't know the full story. I'm sure someone more versed in this music knows. But I've always found that record fascinating, and I know it was an inspiration for her doing some of these. So especially like, to get a little ahead and not talk about the full album, but All My Friends Are Going to Hell. Yeah. It's so like almost comical, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It is very, it's a little like, is this tongue in cheek in a way? I mean, it's a little goofy.
And it's totally part of the like mythos of this album. But yeah, much like Satan is Real, she delivers it in a way where you're like, she might be serious.
Here's the thing. And it's funny. I'm glad you think that, because that means that it lands for a lot of people. The reason why it doesn't land for me is because I don't believe her. And I don't believe her. I don't believe her because I grew up with this stuff and I know what it looks like to actually believe it.
90% chance she doesn't. Yeah. I agree.
And so not even talking about the song specifically, but like there's like a lot of recurring use of tongues on this album.
I hope she's doing all right. And I hope... Yeah. I always hope she's doing all right.
Yeah. So the thing with tongues is like, if you're an outsider and you didn't experience any of that kind of stuff growing up, you look at it and you see, and you go, that's fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. These people are fucking like out of their minds, or they're on something, or they're overwhelmed by some kind of thing. So you kind of have to process it in whatever way you might. But if you, like, I saw a lot of that shit growing up. I mean, I'm very familiar. Like I've seen it.
You're too close.
Way too close. And the people that do that, regardless of whatever you believe, they believe the shit out of it.
Absolutely.
So there's a difference here. So what she did was she literally starved herself and, deprived herself of sleep, according to the press release.
Which again, maybe so, maybe no.
Really intense methods of like trying to get to this thing that you wouldn't have to do that if you believed it.
Yeah.
So what ends up coming out, it doesn't sound like tongues to me, but it does sound fucking crazy and disturbing and cool. Yeah. It's like these really guttural screams, and like she sounds like she's out of her fucking mind. It sounds like she hasn't slept in 3 days.
Yeah.
It sounds really cool, but not for what I think tongues is. I don't hear tongues when I hear that. Not that I'm some fucking religious expert or anything, but I just don't believe it. I believe it's a cool aesthetic and it's a cool sound, but not so much.
Yeah. I also think there's something in the air or the water this year for me. This is our second week of almost talking about country music.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've like made like a sincere attempt to listen to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to my first country concert.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
You're not counting Wheeler, of course.
No. I do and I don't.
Yeah.
Because
I'd still count it. That's my only country show.
So second one. So there's this also like something in the air this year where like it's just clicking for me.
Just country as a whole.
Yeah, and this isn't country per se, but gospel and country share a lot of similarities, especially
the
further back you go.
This southern hymn kind of stuff, like I mean, really all, because so before I'm jumping around all the place, the parts that are the hymns are these very brief transitional tracks, usually in between bigger songs, and there's Power in the Blood. Was it Precious Lord, take Thy Hand is another one. What's another one? Fucking Nothing But the Blood. They're all very much, the big choir, very happy, very bouncy. Some of them have like that folky acoustic guitar thing. Some of them are just a cappella, just the choir. Some of them have the piano, but it's all very much like Sunday school. I think of Sunday school when I hear that.
Yes. And I love the like degrading audio aspect of this.
That is a huge, if this album didn't have that, a lot of this would be kind of, I think, annoying. At least those tracks would be annoying to me because it doesn't register as creepy, but they recorded this so fucked up.
Yeah.
It can only register as kind of unsettling.
I guess I agree too, as my feelings on folk episodes and Simon and Garfunkel when they go like Sunday school, it does grind me, but this is more like, this is like this is a show and a like presentation where like Simon and Garfunkel, I'm like, no, you fucking believe in that.
Exactly. That's what I mean. We're like, if we really believed that she was full on Reverend mode, this probably wouldn't be that good. I mean, those songs, I'm not talking about, we'll talk about the actual compositions after. Those are very good.
Yeah. It might be crazier.
It would absolutely be crazy. It would absolutely be crazy, but I don't think we'd enjoy it like musically. The same way you don't enjoy like, I mean, I guess you already made the example, Simon and Garfunkel, early Simon and Garfunkel, which is understandably a little bit rough.
Yeah.
But before I keep like almost shitting on this album that I do quite like by an artist that I fucking adore, there's just a lot of different choices that I don't love. And I don't think anything in here is like is among her best work ever, even though I do think as a whole it is very good.
I get what you're saying. Like if I met a weird person who I would think liked her music, I wouldn't say start here.
Never. No way.
But as someone who is like all in on this, I'm for it. Yeah. And you know, as it talked about in the liturgy episode, I am it's not really an aesthetic I'm tired of yet. These people who are fascinated with Christian music making this offbeat extreme music,
basically horror, a horror interpretation of it, which does end up being very cool. So we talked a lot about the production, the way that this is recorded again with Seth Manchester, who she's recorded, I think, everything since Caligula. I think,
that sounds right.
And so according to this release, it says that high fidelity recordings of each song were committed to a 4-track recorder and then further degraded in a series of small half-broken cassette players. Tape manipulation techniques provide additional effects of deteriorating texture. The result is an artifact that sounds lost to decay, forgotten as though never meant to be heard. It does really sound shitty and fucked up, but in a cool way. A lot of peaking, a lot of like just, it sounds like a tape. It sounds like an old tape.
Yeah, the best example, and I don't really feel like any of the other tracks capture the like fucked up, cursed, possessed feeling as the opening track does.
I'm getting it while I can.
But it like you're listening to that and you're like, this sounds possessed.
It sounds so that song pissed me off. It's a fucking awesome song. It's so good. It's beautiful. But the way they fucked it up is just, it's like, okay, I get it. You're trying to make it sound old. So it's not just that it's warped and fucked up. Yeah. It's that, and this is my main problem with it. The volume just goes down. Like an old car radio. Like you're trying to find the reception. I get it, but it does it so much. I'm just trying to enjoy the fucking song. No, it's a great song.
Like I said, I'm like totally more bought into the vibes, even if it's like, you know, at the, you know, to someone like you, to the detriment of the song. And really that's the only song.
That's the only song. So the rest has like, you know, really lo-fi production, but that's the only one where they're like, we're gonna fuck this song up like crazy and make it the volume go in and out. And so like I wouldn't even mind the volume dips if it just didn't do it that much, because then I'm like struggling to enjoy this, and it's a really fucking beautiful opener. Super. It's basically a hymn. It's original song, but it feels like a hymn. It's really it's not quite melancholy. It's still hopeful, but with just a touch of like, I don't know, like the sun is going down in a kind of way. Just something just a little off and dark about it.
Reminds me of in the latest Evil Dead, because you got to be hip. They, instead of reading from the Necronomicon, they listen to it on a vinyl.
Oh, very cool. And it's very hip. Very hip.
And this is very much that same thing.
All the performances they're either just vocal only, a cappella, or they have she's using a treated piano, which is apparently prepared with bells and chains. Mm-hmm. And it's fucking very cool sounding, especially with this production. You don't really know exactly how it's getting that sound or where the chains and bells are exactly, but it does sound very cool, but very minimal arrangements, yes, especially compared to the last album.
I think
the last Lingua album. I
think a good standout track for that jangly piano sound is May This Comfort and Protection.
Oh yeah,
like it
crazy sounding piano.
It's insane how much they nailed making it sound like an old-timey, like Western, like
a piano.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yes, this will never win any awards.
No,
but it kind of
it's fucking nice.
Yeah, for the production.
Dude, that song fucking rules. Yeah. It's another really uplifting piece. It's in the Lingua style, but it's a lot more hopeful than Lingua ever was. But yet Kristin still sounds super mournful on there. It's a hopeful sound with mournful colored vocals, which is very nice. One of the singles, it's funny, the two singles from this album, which are All My Friends Are Going to Hell and I Will Be With You Always, are my two least favorite songs on the album.
Interesting.
Yeah, for All My Friends Are Going to Hell, like I will give it up. It's a cool song. First of all, it's unlike anything she's done before. Mm-hmm. It's basically Lingua, and I do mean the project Lingua, doing field holler blues. That's basically what it is, because it's not quite field hollers, but it's just if Lingua did field hollers. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting presentation wise. It's completely unique for what she's done, but musically, I don't find it interesting. It's just field holler blues. Like, yeah, I know exactly. Musically, we've all heard that before. It's a very embryonic genre. So just musically, it doesn't scratch any itch. Aesthetically, it's very cool, but musically, it doesn't.
For me, it's very much in these like corny lyrics. It's funny because it's not even corny. It's like really. The only way that they work for me is if this person is genuinely paranoid and freaked out of going to hell. Yeah. That makes sense. That's also lots of people in the world. But sure. That makes sense to me. But it is like borderline jokey. It absolutely is. Very much in the like Satan is real vein for people who have heard that album. It's really hard to talk about this album in like a linear. No, yeah, it is in a linear fashion. So many things there's a lot of interesting things happening. Yeah, these press releases, which like I was so fascinated in the lore of the press. Like I looked up the address. Oh, I was Googling it. So before we dive into too much, part of the press release is an assessment, a review or something of the album by by a Reverend Herschel B. Rutherford of Wings of Grace Pentecostal Church in Nashua, New Hampshire. And I was trying to find the church online. Did you find it? It's a mall. So it's not real. It's because originally, being from LA, the address starts off 310, and I was like, is this a phone number? No, it's one digit too much. So I'm like, what is this? And I put that address in, and it's a mall. It's got to be. So it's a hoax then. And she is Herschel. Yeah. That makes, because the way this reads is so funny. It's so fucking funny. Because it's part like what a real, like an actual person
would think hearing something like this, like what the fuck is this? Like,
yeah,
because this is how it starts off. It says, "To whom it may concern, I was approached several months ago by Reverend Kristin Michael Hayter about providing promotional material for her album of music, Saved. I accepted this request because I hope to support all servants of Christ in their endeavors, and Reverend Hayter offered me a significant fee for this service, which will help fund our new youth ministry program." So it's like, okay, they bribed this reverend to fucking listen to this.
Yeah.
And like the things that this reverend says they're so fucking interesting and funny, because
it's really just what a normal person's reaction to
it's almost like she asked an uncle to listen to it and then just wrote down what he said.
Yeah.
Because there's a bit here about how he couldn't contact her because she was like off the grid. He had to go visit her in this bunker where she lives, and it's all weird. And then he said he Googled her name, and then he found Lingua, and then he listened to it, and he hated it because there's too much swearing and whatever. And then my favorite part of this whole letter, I mean, it made me laugh.
Wikipedia part?
No, it's my favorite part. This is what he says. "While I did not enjoy the record as a whole, I did appreciate that it was entirely non-secular and free from swearing, and contained versions of many songs I know quite well and sing with my congregation today. I would encourage anyone who enjoys these songs to come listen to the Wings of Grace worship band any Sunday at 10 a.m. as we are lucky to have Bill, our very inspired song leader, who is himself a talented pianist and singer." Like,
that's a nice touch.
Plugging your church in the middle of like promoting something for someone else is so funny to me.
It's great.
But and like he also says, like, where is it right here? It says, if I'm being completely honest, it sounds like it should not be heard at all, and I cannot determine exactly when it was made. It appears quite old. I'm not sure why Reverend Hayter wishes to release it when it sounds so unfinished. Like, I mean, it does sound unfinished. Literally, songs cut off before they're over, and then move on to the, like all the time on this album. But and then in the end, he makes a comment about her speaking in tongues, and then doesn't like agree with her way of doing it. But who knows? Maybe it's real. Maybe it's not. God, Lord works in mysterious ways. And
he can assure you that this is the work of God, not Satan.
Yes, which is what she asked specifically in the letter, quote unquote. And he ends it with, "As my work is complete, I hope that payment will be issued promptly upon receipt of this letter. You will find my invoice attached. May the peace of Jesus Christ be with you today and all days."
Like all good religious leader.
It was a deal, dude. They made a deal.
Yeah.
Allegedly, with this fictional reverend.
Yeah.
But it is very funny. I'm glad to know that it's not real. Or at least that is what it seems like.
The other one like got me too, although that is like it's
an actual press release. You can find that on the Bandcamp and stuff.
Yeah. So the thing that like got me, and I was like, we're not even not even in the album, but the part where it says, "And it is written, as you are when the end comes, so will you be when you must face him. Whether this is enlightenment or insanity is up for the listener to decide." Like, I hope that's like written on the vinyl somewhere.
Oh yeah, you mean like etched in there or something?
No. This like
just like on the liner notes.
On the liner, it's just like sets it up so good.
It's a tonal album. It's all tone, because while some of the songs in here are fucking beautiful and really well written, it is rather inconsistent if you're listening to it like on a song. If you're comparing it to like Lingua albums where like song, fucking amazing song, composition, crazy stuff you've never heard before. This is very much like a whole experience, especially with the little interludes with the gospel stuff. But
the last thing I want to note before getting into the meat and potatoes of this, and even though we kind of already have, and I don't know about you, is how this is noted that this is a journey of healing.
Yeah.
And something I've learned later, or I'm not old, but more recently in life is, and I 100% agree with, is that when you are healing, it is a non-linear thing. So I was trying to tie that in earlier, but like I said, it's very hard to talk about this album.
It is not linear at all. Yeah.
It's not linear, and neither is emotional healing. And I like that message.
Oh yeah. Yeah. What's it for? 2 steps back kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or any variation of that where, this is it's funny for like an album of healing. It still feels very twisted and sadistic, which I guess that's just what she makes. Which is cool.
She heals in her own unique way, and I do hope she is healing.
Yes, indeed. After, I mean, just watching Lingua, those performances, like, okay, there's some shit going on. This is fucking intense.
I do not blame her for retiring those songs.
I don't either. I will never forgive myself for missing this last tour, the Sinner Get Ready tour, because I had the opportunity to go. I just couldn't make time.
I think as we speak, she's got the Carnegie Hall show, and that's it.
That's pretty fucking. Oh, that's the last Lingua one.
That's it.
There we go.
No mas.
Yeah, I'm grateful to have seen her on Caligula, that tour. I mean, that I can die happy with that.
It's a moment in time in history. And I'm awful at calling these things, but I'm sure years from now there will be some sort of like bigger support for her music, and people will be like, "Holy shit, you saw that?"
Oh yeah, it was fucking one of the best shows I've ever seen in my whole life. It truly, I was bawling like a baby in that show. It was fucking ooh. But anyway, back to this one. So. As for the bigger tracks, I guess you can count I'm Getting Out While I Can. Well, even though that does feel like an outlier of an opener, because it's recorded the weirdest and craziest. And it's also like the most hymn-like of the original compositions here. Maybe apart from the closer, but or in addition to the closer. But so All My Friends Are Going Hell, which we talked about that before. It's just a whole new thing. It's very bluesy. And then the next one you get Idumea. I don't know if I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly.
Oh, I thought the next one was There's Power, and then
There's Power in the Blood is one of the hymns. It's one of the,
yeah. And Idumea, is the first song where I was like, this has the like Lingua DNA, and why it doesn't make it such a jarring jump from Sinners to this one. Yeah,
it would fit right at home on a Lingua album. It's really dark. It's unsettling. It's a gigantic vocal choir, with the 12 plus overdubs that she does. And I think it's original, even among her whole output. It's a fucking great song. And then not just that song, but basically everything on here with that production, it's just very distorted, which is just something we haven't heard from her before. Well, I mean, we've heard her be distorted, of course, with like the brutal stuff. But I mean, like with this more piano somber stuff, it still sounds gritty in a way. The other single is I'll Be With You Always. It is the weakest song for me. I genuinely don't care for it.
That's crazy because, I think like it's not only like one of my favorite songs here, but like one of my favorite songs of the year.
Really? That one?
I mean,
really?
There's that one. I guess there's three for me. So it's I Will Be With You Always, Poor Wayfaring Stranger, and I Know His Blood Can Make Me Whole. Those are like, if I don't recommend listening to this album in chunks, but if your attention span is fucked, my recommendations would be those three.
I would swap out I Will Be With You Always with May This Comfort and Protect You. But the Poor Wayfaring Stranger is my favorite on here by far. I think it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, there's just something about her more epic, drawn out songs where like I said earlier, I'm totally buying what she's selling all the time.
Wait, so to go back to I'll Be With You Always. So that one, the reason I didn't care for it is it feels, it's not the song on here that feels the most like Lingua. I think the one that feels the most like Lingua is I Know His Blood Can Make Me Whole. I think that sounds the most like Lingua, but it does sound a lot like it in just a way that she has done before, that I feel like I've heard from her before. It just feels like this more of the same. Whereas a lot of these songs feel like you recognize it as what Lingua did, but it's moving. It's not moving like drastically, but it is like taking a more hopeful direction. And so I think the Poor Wayfaring Stranger is like it's like they all do it in some way or another. I just think that song executes it phenomenally, where it's a similar feel, but it just has expanded moods. It's got more layers with mood.
Yes, I have similar feelings where the linguist stuff is like, it works up to these crescendos, these brutal parts, these violent parts, but that is very much on theme with the like working through it and healing. It doesn't build up to anything crazy.
Yeah.
This is the mood and we're working through it. And maybe it's not the conclusion you want, but it is a healthy outpouring of emotions.
Yeah, it's not hugely cathartic or anything, but it is just pretty. A lot of it is just really well written. Like the vocal lines on that song are just gorgeous. And then May This Comfort and Protect You, like we talked about before, it's just really hopeful, really uplifting. Of course, there's still like sorrow in there, but it's mostly hopeful. Mm-hmm. In terms of all like I've been shitting all over like the gospel hymn transition songs, but I don't mind Nothing But the Blood.
That is the most jaunty thing she's heard.
It's it's got the
you
moving,
can clap your hands, stomp your feet,
exactly. It's actually really the second half that does it for me. Like the first half I find to be paced kind of iffy, but back half does it for me. Because then I Know His Blood Can Make Me Whole.
Yes, thank you.
I fucking love that piano. It sounds so good on that one as well.
I'm sure there is a piano term for the note she is playing, but when she starts singing, I was a gambler just like you. Yeah. It's this like very like busy.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure there's a term for it, but I'm a simpleton. Yeah, I just love that whatever that piano method is.
They're not maybe you can call them trills. I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
That's just for music nerds, normal people.
I know. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't know the fucking term for it, but it is very nice. It does start moving more. It has a lot more movement to it. It doesn't get big or loud or anything, but that one's basically a Lingua outtake. I mean, it's almost, aside from lyrically.
And again, at some point she sings, I was sick and couldn't get well. Like, I feel that. Amen. Amen, Reverend.
Preach. Oh my goodness.
Oh man. And then like at the end, the like spooky, like speaking in
the tongues part on the closer, you mean? Well, no, it's actually in between. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It opens up some songs, it ends with certain songs, it cuts right into it. It's fucking terrifying.
Yes. On the back half, like on there, and oh my god, the fucking it is creepy and disturbing in ways like fucking like Cradle. I love Cradle of Filth. I'm sorry, but like in ways that like Cradle of Filth wishes they could be. There's other bands. I'm sorry, that's just the first like comically.
Hear that Cradle? Fuck you.
Also, I love Cradle of Filth. I love their cover of Hallowed Be Thy Name. I think I've said it once, but it's been a while. I once went to a Cradle of Filth show over Melving's show.
Wow. Whoa, dude.
I've grown.
Whoa, dude.
I've grown.
I hope you have, brother. I hope you have. Whoa, dude. So I forget which songs they cut in on. It might be like I wonder if I noted it here.
The other songs, it cuts in and it's jarring.
Yeah.
And like almost more like a jump scare.
Yeah. The opener cuts off with that. And then I think it's in the beginning of like, I don't want to say the Poor Wayfaring Stranger. It may, but it's one of in the second half, it opens with it as well.
But let me tell you something, brother. How can I keep from singing
the closer?
It lured me into a false sense of security.
Yeah.
Where I was like, is this a normal song? Can you show this to people?
No, you can't.
And then in the background, very unsettling, not jarring like the other ones.
No, it just glides right in or fades right in.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's intense, dude.
I can't even compare. I don't even know what other songs to compare that to.
It's completely deranged.
Yeah.
If it was like because of the song is 8 minutes long. 6 of those minutes is the song. I don't know. I think the tongues come in pretty quickly, and I don't know exactly.
After like a couple minutes,
yeah, and then they hold it for the remaining. Like there's 2 full minutes of just tongues.
But yeah, it's just there in the background, and maybe if you aren't paying attention, you don't even notice that.
I think it's gonna be hard to miss.
If you have, well,
they're not at the forefront, but it's going to be hard to miss.
Yeah.
Because it's a deeply somber piano ballad.
Yeah.
I mean, really beautiful, but it's so disturbing because you get this gorgeous somber thing. You feel like there's closure, there's happiness, and then this horror, and then like fades in the background and just holds it. The song ends, and then like 2 straight minutes of just tongues. And so it is horrifying. It is creepy. It's very cool. And it's a very beautifully done piece of music. I have to take out that she's trying to do tongues in order to enjoy it because
you're too, for me, I'm like,
because it sounds like I hear her starving and sleep deprived. Like it sounds like she's really fucking pushing it, but
I don't know the difference, and I don't give a shit.
I wish I didn't know the difference. That's the only thing. That's the only thing because
you hear that Mike's real crazy.
I'm actually crazy,
or he's crazy adjacent.
Oh, to sit that's an understatement. I mean, I'm very familiar with crazy, but yeah, it's like I still love it. I still think it's fantastic, but I have to almost like. Just try to. It's what this is like to me. It's like watching a movie to me. We're like, yeah, I know it's a movie, but I have to take out that. Oh, this didn't happen. These are actors. Like, just lose yourself. Forget about it. Just appreciate it for the piece of art that it is. I see this like a movie. Like I know she's acting. I know like even though she pushed herself, but it's still not exactly like a documentation of this person who's fucking in it. You know.
I think for me, from like day one, my relationship with her music has always been cinematic and not in a way we normally talk, but I've always like viewed her albums as these big experiences that you need to like listen to start and finish. You can't just like throw on 1 or 2 songs. And even then they're not like, there's like, not really too many social settings.
None.
Probably 0.
Yeah.
So I've always like had this like cinematic experience with her from day one. So
my difference with that is, with those albums, I believed every fucking word of it.
Oh, they are autobiographical.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And even with the thing like you go to Caligula, and obviously these lyrics are very extravagant. They're written from a perspective of like a very, messianic type perspective, but they're still true words. They're still like real perspectives. The same way with this. These are like still real perspectives and beliefs, but it's so heavy with the Christian overtones and stuff that it feels like more theater than it does autobiography. Which is why I kind of get lost in like, oh, well, this is more of like a persona type thing than a real journey through hell and stuff. Heaven. I mean,
yeah, it is hence the Reverend.
Yeah.
So,
and I guess that also conflicts with me too, because like, oh, she's adopting her real birth name, but also this character on top of it.
I think also as a pro wrestling nerd, I love the like.
That's the Undertaker, dude. And she's Paul Bearer.
The blurring of like, you're technically playing a character, but like why are you using your real name? Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
There is this like pro wrestling aspect.
I like it more now because you put that spin on it, that perspective.
That's what we do. You've like talked me through some albums and sometimes, hey, we just need to marinate with things. We're doing this in real time, baby.
Hell yeah, baby. Help me. Yeah, I mean, it is a really. It's one of the most interesting and coolest albums of the year, easily. Like I still like it a lot. It's just when I'm my musical life is changed by an artist. I'm sorry, but the standards are fucking there. Like I wish I didn't have such like high expectations, but like, this is easily my weakest Hayter album, but like, it's one of the best albums of the year.
Would you say you're a hater?
I'm not a hater. I am a liker. I'm a liker, not a hater.
Yeah. It's very it's interesting being at this point in her career, this metamorphosis that's going on. She's still one of the most fascinating people working in music, and maybe it's not like a starting point, but for me, she still has a ton to say. She still delivers it in a way that I find endlessly fascinating. So
yeah, it's a bold new direction. It's not like it's not like the most like, holy shit, how does she do this? But you see the movement.
No, it's logical, and I don't even think it's that far of a stretch to think like maybe her next album is this her normal name and she doesn't do this like reverence. Maybe this is just like purely a transitional thing. Maybe, maybe she's like MF Doom and she'll bust out
a million different personas.
Yeah, maybe. And she'll like pull them out further down the line. Like, I think that's a weird kid.
That'd be fucking hilarious. She's wearing masks. She's getting Hannibal Buress to show up on stage for her.
She already in Sinner, wasn't she wearing a mask on the album?
She did. She was wearing a mask.
Yeah, so it's a weird but apropos comparison. And yeah, I always feel weird hyping up an artist and saying things like they're brilliant and amazing. But to me, she
is brilliant and amazing. No, I mean,
I'm just always so scared of someone listening to it and like, oh man, these guys hyped it up, and then they listen and they're like, what are they talking?
Yeah, because it's not like an easy album. This is even though it's one of her least abrasive, if not her absolute least abrasive, it is still probably one of her least accessible.
I mean, yeah, from the get-go, she doesn't make accessible music.
Exactly, yeah. And even in this, among that, is still considered, I could consider it the least accessible. So it's kind of it's a lot.
Yeah. And she's doing interesting stuff, and you kind of need to be a fan of abrasive stuff, even if it's not screaming.
But I think what I would consider one of the make or breaks is, how do you feel about those fucking hymns? Because that takes up such a, they're only interludes, but they do take up a lot of real estate in the album.
Yeah, I don't even, even if I wasn't like kind of digging on country music this year, I don't even think it would break it for me. And especially like I've wanted to hear this album ever since I don't know if it was her press release, do the comparison to the Satan is Real album, because I've always just been like fascinated by that album.
I actually would like to see more of this persona's Reverend Kristin Michael Hayter, and see what she does next, because in a way it does feel like a Growing Pains album for me. Like, I don't know what's happening next, but it does feel like there's still remnants of Lingua, and she's trying to kind of meld in this really prominent gospel aesthetic. And I think there's just too much Lingua left over for it to feel like a wholly new thing. I think whatever comes after this is going to be a lot more developed and a lot more like mature and like confident. Having said that, I still like it a lot, but
yeah.
I'm more interested in what happens after this and what has happened before this.
I almost to go back to a movie comparison. She's almost like Jordan Peele to me, where I feel so spoiled, where I'm like, she puts out an album or he puts out a movie and it's fucking amazing, and I love it so much that I'm so excited to see what you do next that I'm like, okay, I need to slow down.
Yeah.
And just like, this is what I have right now.
Yeah. It is
like I love Nope. But like the second the credits started, I was like, what are you going to make next?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And not like in a bad, this like, I love that so much. I wish you had more for me to sink my teeth into.
Yeah. Yeah. That comes with any artist that I feel like is doing things. I mean, I don't know. So many albums that we hear end up just feeling the same or sounding the same. Like, yeah, I can tell how you wrote that. You sat down and you're like, this is a cool riff. What else is a cool riff? All right, that's a song. And like, yeah, that works for a lot of music, but sometimes you want some weird shit. Some shit like, I don't know why that came to that person's brain. How the fuck did they do that?
Yeah.
Like that's making me feel weird. How did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the stuff that like gets me really excited. And she's always been the fucking like the queen of that ever since I found her.
Yeah.
And even this album is no different. Even if I don't love every song on here, the stuff that lands still fucking lands. Oh, so you should all check it out when it's out, or now, because in case you're listening to this after the 20th.
Good problem to have, but I am sweating bullets with the year-end list right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of this is a pretty good year for music, dude.
It's a pretty good year for music. It's a good ass year.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking crazy stuff.
There's albums we haven't even talked about on here.
Yep. But check it out. And check out all of Kristin Hayter's stuff. I mean, holy shit. She just started Perpetual Flame Ministries, which is what this album was released on.
Mike even loves her like demos, like
the Caligula demos made my year end list.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. She's an incredible songwriter. So check out all her shit. And this album will be out on October 20th. So go and find that and do that in all the places. Please do that. Yes. Yeah, I guess we're let's wrap it.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and again, million gajillion thanks to Tom Osman, our history boy, for fucking doing this for us and getting us an advanced copy. We love you. And yeah, follow me on all social media at Panda Monkey and Alex on Instagram at
Every Album Alex.
Hell yes. Follow. Yeah, I plugged Tom and then forgot to fucking plug Tom. Check out all his stuff at TomOsmanSounds.com. That's where he posts all his music and all his whatnots. Tom Osman Sounds on all social media as well. He has 2 albums out. Go check those out. He's fucking cool and talented. Check out my EP, Panda Monkey. It's in the description if you want to do that as well. Cool. What the fuck else? Patreon.
Oh, can't forget about that.
Can't forget about the Patreon. Also, we have a big announcement. Our patrons already know this, but for everyone else, now for the longest, if you're tier 2, you can request a full episode for us to cover on the bigger, longer numbered episodes, full discography. It's been that way for a while. As Alex knows, we take a long time to do those because there's a backlog and there's a lot of waiting involved, and it takes time to do these things.
There's no fast way to listen to music.
It takes exactly the time it takes and not a fucking second sooner.
There's no way to cheat. There's no way to cheat.
There's no way to cheat. We fucking tried. There's no way.
I've thought about it, but I was like, that doesn't sit right in my soul. It wouldn't be right for the hundreds of you.
It wouldn't be right for the hundreds of fans that we have. We do appreciate every single one of you. But
how crazy is modern times where you can have hundreds of fans and it's considered insignificant? I don't take it for granted at all.
I'm extremely grateful, but it is funny.
It's crazy. This is crazy.
We'd be gods in Roman times, dude.
Yes.
But having said that, we're now offering a new perk for tier 2 members. You can now suggest any album you want us to do a Patreon bonus episode on, any album from any artist, whatever, and we'll do an episode on that. So if there's an artist that we're probably not going to do a full episode on, like Prince or Frank Zappa, Mother's Adventures is a different story, but Frank Zappa solo stuff, we're not fucking doing that. There's literally 60 to 80 albums in there.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So if there's an artist like that and there's a specific album you want us to fucking talk about, shoot us a fucking message on Patreon. And if you're tier 2, we put all those in a pool and then we pick them out and we post those on Patreon. They'll be exclusive to Patreon. So
that way it doesn't mess with our...
Yeah, it doesn't mess with our... Maybe we'll throw one out as a singles episode if it's really interesting or really good, or if we need extra time to do a massive discography. But for the most part, they're all going to be on Patreon. So go to the Patreon if you want to get all the bonus episodes. You get to see our schedule in advance. You get to vote on polls to decide who we cover next. You get to join our Discord, and on the Discord you can also suggest brand new albums for our EAA singles episodes like this one.
And let me say, our Discord members are crazy active on there. I feel kind of bad because I can't keep up anymore, but I'm glad you guys are having fun. I'm glad people seem to be making friends. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Good.
2 strangers I've never met are now friends. They've met in person because of us.
That's it. That's fucking That's wild. That's fucking wild.
So I'm very like happy you guys are having good music conversations. I get in there when I can. Sometimes I'm like, there's too much.
Yeah, I'm gonna bow out gracefully.
I'm there. Tag me specific. Like if you want me to see something, tag me so I see it. Otherwise, I'm doing my best.
Same with me. Yeah, I can't check it. There's too much, and I get overwhelmed with all that stuff. But tag me if you want on Discord. And also, I run the Patreon, so message me on Patreon. Message me on Patreon.
Talk to Mike on the Patreon. Talk to me on the Discord.
There we go. So yeah, so get all that shit. Like we said, tier 2, you can request the full episodes for us as well as the bonus episodes of Patreon. It's very cool. It's very fun, and we're enjoying our time doing that. Thank you. I think that about does it.
Yes.
So I think it's fairly obvious what we should close it with, since there's only 2 singles out right now, and one of them resonated hard with you.
Are we not allowed to play?
I don't know how embargoes work, and I don't want to take a chance. Otherwise, I would have put a different one on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's not take in the future. We'll ask.
Yeah. But I think in terms of embargoes, whatever is out is safe.
Yeah. So okay. Let's play it safe. I'm sorry you don't like it, but I think it's it paints a better picture of the album than.
So let's do it, baby. This is I Will Be With You Always. Thank you so much for listening and watching. See ya.